Hello, how's everybody doing out there? Just wanted to give everybody a quick review. On the left here, I have an iPhone 5S. This is given to me for a week from T-Mobile as part of their test drive promotion. And on the right here, I have my BlackBerry Q10, which I've been using on Verizon for about a year and a half now. And the reason I'm doing this is really because I've had people give me a lot of crap, I guess you could say, for using the BlackBerry, loving the BlackBerry, recommending the BlackBerry. And they always say, if you use the iPhone, if you had an iPhone, you would see the difference, you'd end up buying one, you'd end up loving one. Well, I've been using it for a week, and before I get way into stuff, I just want to say I'm going to keep this as unbiased as possible. I'm doing this strictly as a comparison for what I do and the way I work on both devices and how both devices hinder or benefit me. And I really made an effort to use the iPhone almost exclusively for a week, not just to test T-Mobile's network, but to test the feature set versus the BlackBerry. And I gotta say, I am not at all surprised. I stick by my original opinion, and I'm going to show you why in the upcoming comparisons. I know there's tons of reviews out there on the iPhone, tons of reviews on the BlackBerry, but I don't really know if there's any that show the subtle differences that are really nice to know, and especially for business purposes and people that do a lot of messaging and for multitasking. And BlackBerry 10 is the new version of the OS, and I don't think enough people have really seen the features and benefits of BlackBerry 10 to really compare it to when they think of BlackBerry, you think of the older ones that required the enterprise server to use email, that didn't have the ActiveSync support, that you had to pull the battery out of every day or two. BlackBerry 10 is not like that at all. It's a far different, much different animal. So I'm gonna do a comparison of some general features, things that one phone does a lot better than the other. I'm not going to touch on very much, other than saying this one is the clear winner. Here's why. Give one quick explanation. I don't think there's any point to go in depth. But when there's a difference, I especially when the BlackBerry wins out, I really think I want to show you a side-by-side comparison. So the areas I'm going to touch on are web browsing, multitasking, messaging, battery life, and a few others. All right, so one of the first things I'm going to touch on is security. Right now, I have both these devices locked, and both these devices are set with a password. So first on the iPhone, and you're going to have to bear with me a little bit because I have the camera in front of me, and it's a little hard to use the phone and use either phone really with this in front of me. So I have my my unlock and enter the password. It's just a simple one right now. Great, I can do whatever I need to do. Open my apps, do whatever I want to do. And then let's say I put my phone in my pocket. I hit the power button first, obviously, because I'm going to want to close it. So then let's say a couple minutes later, I want to check to see if I have an email. Well, I go in and I have to enter this password all over again. And same thing on the BlackBerry here. You slide up, it's telling me, enter device password. So I enter my password. Oops. And I'm in. And, I check my messages, I do whatever I need to do, and then I say, okay, off, back in my pocket, and then here's where the difference comes in. Turn the device on, slide up, I'm right back at my main screen, I'm ready to use my device. And without even hitting the power button, we'll be at the blank screen right out of the pocket. You don't even need to touch the power button. You slide up, and there you are, you're right there. Now, before you're saying that's insecure, well, this device is set for a 20-minute inactivity timeout. If I go in here into my security settings and device password, you'll see lock device after 20 minutes. if I'm not using this device, if it's in my pocket for 20 minutes, if it's sitting off, or if it's sitting even on for 20 minutes and nothing happens, nothing touches it, it prompts for the password again. But why every time you pick this up, turn it right back off, pick it right back up a second later, why should I have to enter the password every time? It just doesn't make sense. It's an extra thing. And yeah, I know you're saying, oh, well, they have the fingerprint authentication. Well, you know what? I don't want to use the fingerprint authentication. I'm not comfortable with my, fingerprint information, possibly being stored somewhere. Also, what happens if you cut your finger? What happens if you get a blister? What happens if you're wearing gloves? There's drawbacks to that. And that's one thing. Another thing I'd like to draw your attention to specifically on the BlackBerry, and I'll go ahead and lock this, is if somebody, if somebody unauthorized to me, somebody steals my phone, somebody has my phone, whatever, and they keep trying to guess the password. You'll see here at the top, if I can get it focused in there, the incorrect password attempts will go up towards 10. And I know you're kind of thinking, what happens when you get 10? Well, it says right there, if you enter the incorrect password, I've entered the incorrect password 5 times. After 10 unsuccessful attempts, device data will be erased. It absolutely means that. It's a great security feature. It basically means that if somebody has my phone, and that doesn't time out, by the way, that is indefinite. If I check that a day later, if I don't know if you pull the battery. That is one thing I'm not sure of. That might reset it, but who knows. If you have 10, in fact, let's try it. If you have 10 invalid password attempts, it will wipe all the data on the device. It'll be completely unrecoverable. The other nice thing about the BlackBerry is you have the ability to encrypt the entire phone or the SD card. You can take a full backup of the phone using the BlackBerry Link software, similar to, I'm sure, the way you can on iTunes. It will back up the apps. It will back up all your data, pictures, music, whatever you might have on it. It will also back up every single setting. It'll back up your ringtones. It'll back up the position of icons. It'll back up, everything except the device password. So that's all in there. That's all well and good. And I just really found that lacking with the iPhone and annoying. I mean, it seems to be more, let's put everything in the cloud, let's share everything. And that's not the way I'm used to working, and that's not the way that I want to work. That being said, there are a lot of nice security features the iPhone does offer. There's the Find My iPhone, which is similar to the BlackBerry one. I forget what the service is called on the BlackBerry, though, to be honest. But there is a similar GPS tracking where you can go online. You can erase the device. You can have the device call out, make a sound even if it's on silent mode. That's a feature that's supported on both devices. So I don't really see that as anything all that special. But back to what I was saying before, we'll check and see now if we are in fact. Oh, nope, look at that. It survives the reboot, survives the battery pull. It still tells me if I have 5 times on here and all the data gets erased, it absolutely means that. No one's getting their hands on anything. If you plug this into a computer, it's going to ask you for the same exact password, so don't think that's a workaround either. Let me now unlock this properly with my correct password so I don't have any issue here. One nice thing is you see how it says to continue, enter BlackBerry. The reason it does that is because if this is in your pocket, let's say, and you're hitting on the keys and possibly entering invalid passwords, that's just a protection to keep your phone from accidentally erasing itself. But clear winner on data security features. Next thing I'm going to go on to is multitasking. And just the ability to flow through different things on the phone. And this is one thing also where I think the BlackBerry excels. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that first by demonstrating how things work on the iPhone. on our iPhone here, I'm going to open up Safari, and looks like we're already going to YouTube here. I have a, some video on the screen, doesn't matter, just random. So I'll put this on, I'll be playing this, and I use my phone in the car to listen to music through the stereo, or maybe I'm just walking around, maybe whatever, I want to listen to something while I'm checking my email, whatever. So watch what happens when I hit the power button. Sound stops playing. I understand the video stops, obviously, but why are you stopping the audio too? Turn it back on, and I have this play button I can hit to bring it back, but why is there an extra step necessary? And then look, I have to unlock the device again. So I have the same thing going, and let's say I want to check my email now. I hit the button, and I get to my email, but why it stops playing again? And people told me you swipe up and you can hit play. Yeah, that works, but it's an extra step, and why should it be necessary? It's almost like there's no multitasking ability. And yes, I'm well aware that you can download apps like Pandora, for example, that don't have those limitations, but I just don't understand why it's even necessary, where on the BlackBerry, same deal, we'll open up the browser here, and we'll open up, we'll bring up a similar video, don't know if it's the same thing, don't know if it's different, not really the point here. So I hit play on that, and we have our video playing. Turn off my screen. Notice the audio keeps playing. Turn on my screen. Slide up. Let's say I want to do something else. I can get to my messages. I can get to my email. I can get to different apps, all while using this. If I want to get back to the video, just tap, pops right up. No complication, no anything weird. I have my dedicated volume control on the side. I can kind of, and why is it so complicated on the iPhone? Click close, and then it stops. It doesn't stop unless I close the browser. It just makes a lot more sense. Now, the other thing is, let's say I'm sending or receiving messages while I have a video going. So I have this, what I have is I have my BlackBerry here with my phone number for this phone pre-programmed in it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play this video and be watching this video, and I'm going to send myself a text message just to simulate, what would happen if you receive an important text while you're watching a video on the iPhone. So we'll play our video, and then I'll just say hi, send that over, and we'll get a nice little pop-up notification up here, and I'll tap that, and video stops again. No, and okay, I guess I can swipe up and then play my video and then decide to respond to my text. But again, why is there an extra step necessary? Why do you even stop playback? We will do the same thing on the BlackBerry here. Bring up our same video again. And so we have it going, and I'll just reply to myself, and you'll see what happens. So I get a pop-up, and I have a little button I can click next to it. It's going to be hard to focus on that. Okay, so let me actually send myself a better message so you can read it. It looks a little better. I'll just say, what are you doing? Question mark. All right, so I'm sending myself this message, and you'll see on there, I have this pop-up. It has I can click it, and I can get right to my message, and I can reply. No interruption in the audio, but really, what I really wanted you to see, I'm going to send another message. I'm just going to say test. And so I'll send myself the message. If you look at the top of the screen, there's a little black arrow here, and you can tap that little black arrow, and you see I'm still watching my video, and I can reply. This is test reply. So I can reply to my message while I'm watching the video, and I can send it without any interruption, straight from the screen. No interruption in sound, no anything. Why can't you do that on the iPhone? While we're on the subject of multimedia, I also wanted to talk about the browsers. Now, I really was excited with the iPhone because it has the Safari, and I really thought that it was going to be a better, faster, more responsive browser than the Q10. Not that I really had any complaints about the browser on the Q10, it's excellent. But I was surprised by the issues I've had with many websites using the Safari browser, and one of them is the lack of Flash support, but there's also other problems. I'm just going to demonstrate some quick and simple things, using some pretty silly websites, but just to give you the general idea. So the first one I'm going to go to, I'm just going to open up Safari here, and this is Look at My Horse, MyHorseIsAmazing.com. It's just a stupid Flash video, and I get, so I get the text, I get the background, and then I have kind of this jumble of icons at the top of the screen. I guess it's telling me I'm supposed to get Flash Player. I'll try the same thing on the Q10 here. We'll open up the browser, and there it is, it's in cache, opened up, and we got a Flash video running. And it's smooth, it's responsive, same as anything else I was doing in YouTube. And I can open this back up. When you double tap it, you get the full screen mode. You can watch this in full screen. I can just move straight down, then I get it out of full screen, and we'll just go back to our main screen. So lack of Flash still out there. Another one of, just another joke site. It's pricesrightfail.com. Whoops, that's the wrong one. This is a site I send people when they screw up at work. So we have the sound effect in the background, and when I hit the play button, I get the sound effect again. So we'll try the same thing on our iPhone here. Just go back, and we'll go in our address bar. There we go, I have it in the recent here, Price is Right Fail. Opens up, but I don't have any sound. And if you hit play, I don't know if you can see it, but you get a little thing that indicates that it's using the data because it's trying to download the sound, but there's no sound. So that website, I'm not sure what type of technology that is, but it's not Flash, I can tell you that. It's just a background sound, I think. Does not work in Safari on the iPhone. And there's one other real-world example I wanted to show you. I'm going to need to get into my email on the iPhone to show you, and I want to bring up the same email on the BlackBerry, so I'm just going to cut away for a second. When I have that up, I'll just be right back. And then, all right, so it turns out I found the message I was talking about, but I can't really show you because I had already unsubscribed from it. Basically, there was a mailing list I was on, and I clicked the unsubscribe link on the iPhone, and it had three options. It had receive no email, receive fewer email, or there you go. What was the other one? Make no changes or something. So I go to try to change it on the iPhone, and it just radio buttons and submit, and the submit button doesn't work. Try the same thing on the BlackBerry, and no issues whatsoever. It operates the same way a PC does. Just general web browsing. I'm going to just bring up msn.com. We'll do the same thing on here. And again, we're not comparing speed here, but it just seems like the browser is more responsive and you can do more with it on the BlackBerry versus the iPhone. It just really seems more business oriented. Having the extra screen real estate on the iPhone is nice though. Next on multimedia features. I will touch on FaceTime. FaceTime is a really neat video chat feature on the iPhone. I like it. It's done well. I think that Apple should make it cross-platform on Android, BlackBerry, and Windows Phone. I think it would be, the next big thing. Unfortunately, there's not a version for BlackBerry. BlackBerry has BBM video, which is nice, but the problem with BBM video is it's only supported on BlackBerry devices. They don't have BBM video for Android or iPhone. They do have BBM for both of them, though, and I do have to say the BBM app on the iPhone works incredibly well. It just lacks the, some of the notification settings on BlackBerry, such as, if you're a member of a group, you can disable notifications just for one group, versus on the iPhone, I can turn off notifications for BBM entirely, or I can turn them on for BBM entirely. That's just an example. Another thing multimedia related is Bluetooth. So I'll go into the settings on both of these phones. Very, very similar menu structure if you look at it. So I'll open up my Bluetooth settings on both of these devices. And again, very similar. I'm just going to turn Bluetooth on both of these. And really what I want you to see is this device that I have listed on both of them, the KDC X9, which is my car stereo. Now, on the iPhone, I have, and don't think it's because it's not connected, because nothing changes when it's connected. You can trust me on that, or you can try it yourself. I can hover over it, or I can try clicking it, or I can hit info. The only options I have are forget this device and sync contacts. On the BlackBerry, same thing. I hover over it, I get these side menu options, and I can click here, and I can get a lot more, I get these other choices. This is a feature I love and I absolutely cannot live without. See how I can have hands-free calling off, but I can have Bluetooth audio streaming on? This means that I can use this device in the car. I can play music through it. If I open up, something in YouTube or on, any audio streaming app, I can play that through the car speakers. But if I receive a phone call, I can pick up my phone and answer the call without having it go through the car stereo. That's just not a feature that's available on the iPhone. The only option I have is, do I want to sync my contacts or not? I don't have the option of use this device to play audio through the speakers, but don't use it for hands-free calling. It's just a major oversight, and it's something that is very, very much lacking. Another thing we'll touch on is, I said we'd talk about battery life. I'm not, a week is not enough time to get a good run on, how well the battery works on a device, although I do seem to think that under heavy use, the BlackBerry is much better. I don't know the size of the batteries. I'm not going to compare them. That's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, right now I have about 29% on here, and actually the batteries on these are very similar. The BlackBerry and the iPhone, about the same battery life right now. But the BlackBerry has this trick that, I don't understand why Apple doesn't have the same trick. You have this accessory. It's right here. It's called the BlackBerry Charging Bundle. It has a battery in it, and you can, take the battery out. It will charge the battery independently. So it's a battery charger. Also, if you open up the side here, it has a little USB connector that you can plug in, and you can charge it that way. But what I do with this is I have this at home plugged in, and when I get home, regardless of my, battery life, I turn off my BlackBerry, take the battery out of the back, swap it with the fresh battery out of the charger, put the fresh battery, or put the dead battery in the charger, and then plug the charger into the wall and grab it the next time I need it. I haven't had to put my phone on the table and let it charge for the entire year and a half that I've had it. It just is not something you have to do with a BlackBerry device. You can, as they say, keep moving. Next thing I kind of want to touch on is email functionality and the ability to use your email and calendar sync on the device. Both of these devices sync contacts, they sync calendar, and they sync email through Microsoft ActiveSync and through other sources. But for the purposes of this, we're just going to talk about Microsoft ActiveSync. So I have my 2 ActiveSync mailboxes on here. The iPhones, it works well. I can see my entire folder structure. I can get in and do everything I need. I do get pop-up notifications for emails, but unlike with the BlackBerry, I can't reply to it in place. I have to actually stop what I'm doing, and then it opens up the email and I can reply to it at that point. But one interesting thing, I'm just going to open up one of my email accounts, and I'm going to go to a new message, and I'll just put in someone that works with me, and I have the subject. I can pretty generic, no frills messaging client. Now the same thing on the BlackBerry here, and I'll select the same person, and you can see here it has suggestions right underneath. And the way it gets these suggestions is by people that that normally are on the same email. It's one person I work with, and this is our manager, and then these are 2 account, and then it says these are 2 account managers I work with. And then if I drill down further, this is a tech that sometimes is on the same emails as these people. So it suggests contacts for me based on who I email. I'll discard that, and I'll open up another email, and I'll put in a totally different person. And now it gives me totally different examples of people that I might want to include on this email, as well as the person I just added. It learns based on my habits, and it just seems to make a lot more sense. It does this the same with the camera, for example. I'll just take a random picture here, and just of my desk, nothing special. And we'll open up our picture, and I'll do share, and it has options based on who I normally share pictures with. I can click the button, and it's right there in a new message for them. Very simple, makes a lot of sense, very easy. And the same thing happens with email attachments, with BBM messages. It just remembers. If when I share a video, I usually share it with a certain email address or a certain person. They're listed there, and it, simple, less steps to do. One other thing that I wanted to touch on that I haven't yet is the ability to switch between apps. So on the iPhone here, I'll open up Safari. If I want to open something else, well, I got to click this button, and then I'll say, okay, open up calculator, and then I want to get back to Safari, I have to hit the button. It just seems like a hassle. Same thing on the BlackBerry. I open up the browser. You want to go to something else, what you do is you swipe up, and then I'll do the same thing here. I'll go to my calculator app, and if I'm done there, I just swipe up, and you see how I have this screen that has these big blocks, and it shows me all the things that are open. Like I'll open up calendar here also, and I can swipe left, and you get to or left to right I should say, you get to what's called the hub, where you have all your messaging in one place. Literally, if I click this hub right here, it'll combine text messaging, all my email accounts, or I can address accounts, and different functions like calls, for example, individually. If I go to from right to left, then I have this screen that shows me all my apps that are open. Everything I'm doing. I can click, get back to calculator, click, get back to browser, click, get back to calendar. Very simple. And if I want to close anything, I just hit the X button in the corner, and it goes away. On the iPhone, the only way I've seen, at least, to find out if stuff is open, you double tap, and it'll show me all my different apps that are open. I suppose I can kind of do the same thing, click, go to calendar, double tap, then get back to the browser. It's kind of whatever. I like the style and the way it's done on the BlackBerry a lot better personally. It just seems a little clunky and kind of like an afterthought almost on the iPhone to me. Another thing I want to touch on is file management and connectivity options. On the BlackBerry, I have a wide array of choices. On the side here, I have my micro USB port. And I also have, I don't know if it's called a mini or a micro HDMI port, but it's an HDMI. It can be hooked to a TV or a monitor. Also, if you open up settings here, and I haven't personally used this feature, so it might take me a try or two to find it. There it is. HDMI audio and Miracast. I can share the screen. You know, real simple. You can do that with a Miracast adapter. Some TVs and monitors support it natively. You can get what's on your screen right up on the bigger screen. The iPhone lacks those type of inputs unless you want to purchase an Apple TV. You can't, as far as I know, use this Lightning connector for HDMI or any type of output, and I also do not believe that there's any kind of Miracast option for an iPhone, so I have to go ahead and buy an Apple TV if I want to have my iPhone screen. BlackBerry, not this particular model, but some of the other models, the Z30 for example, will actually allow you to use the USB port as a host, so I could actually plug a full-sized, Logitech, Microsoft, whatever, keyboard into this, plug a full-size monitor into it, use my text messaging and email on a computer screen, use this almost like a computer if I want to. I can do that on this particular model just with a USB keyboard. It just does not support the host function, so I can't plug a wired keyboard into it, but not really that important to me, and honestly, if I can only use my USB port for one thing, I'd rather charge my battery while I have it on the big screen. I think that'd be neat. And I really think that that's some features that would be nice to have on the iPhone. I mean, even without the host functionality on here, I don't know if I was clear before, I can still hook a Bluetooth keyboard up to this and have the full-size keyboard if I really wanted to do that. And as far as getting this on a projector or any type of screen to do a presentation, I just need to purchase an HDMI cable. HDMI is universal. HDMI to DVI, HDMI hooks to a lot of monitors, a lot of, every TV practically, projectors. It's universal, it's simple. I have done that before with this. It works very well. And it's just truly lacking on here. The other thing is, unlock it again. Where's the file manager? How do I see what my file system looks like, where my folders are? It doesn't make sense not having, a simple file manager. Simple, and this file structure is exactly the same. If I plug this into a computer, I have these exact same folders. It just makes perfect sense. It's simple. I don't get not having it on the iPhone. I really don't. Knew I'd forget something, and this is a big one. Notifications. If you're in a meeting, you're, eating dinner with friends, family, whatever, just doing something where you don't want to just pull out your phone. Let's say I'm expecting an email or a text. What I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off the BlackBerry, and I'm going to use the iPhone just to send myself a quick text message, just like I did last time. Send that away. And I get a message on the BlackBerry, but you notice there's this light up in the corner that blinks, and you can configure that for different patterns, different colors, and it's just the easiest thing in the world. I don't even have to turn on the phone. If I have this on silent, I can look at it, and I can tell that I have a message, and depending on how I have it configured, I can even tell what kind of message it is. There's no feature like that on here. The blinking light is the simplest, one of the best ways to non-intrusively check your phone if something's going on. And, I open this up, and actually, this is kind of important because I want to show you the lock screen on the BlackBerry. I can click my text message, and I can see my message from myself here, and then it just tells me tap to open it. And then at that point, I'm prompted for my password if it's been 20 minutes or more, and only if it's been 20 minutes or more. So I enter my password once, and I have my message on here. Off, on, off, on. What the hell? Well, to wrap this up and to put everything together, I do have to say, I will touch on the keyboard a little bit. Having the physical keyboard is second to none. Predictive text is nice, but if you're talking in technical terms the way I do all the time, being in computer tech, it just makes sense to be able to have the real keyboard with all the symbols available to you right there. And when I say all the symbols, I mean all the symbols. There's pages of these available, similar to it is like it is on an iPhone, but there's shortcuts right on the keys. I have I can do alt, I can do parentheses, I can do exclamation point, I can do without hitting a separate button. Why do you need to hit a separate button? Why do you need to rely on predictive text? It just makes more sense to have the real keyboard there. At least that's what I think. And hopefully this has been informative. Like I said, this is not designed to be a full review. I'm not going to sit here and do tons of research to try to compare these two things. This is what it's like for somebody that is just trying this phone that everybody says is the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I just don't see it. You need an app to do pretty much anything that I can do natively in the browser on BlackBerry. There are strong points. Like I said, FaceTime is great. Apple Maps is beautiful, pretty nice. A slight lag on the GPS, but I do like it better than the GPS on the BlackBerry, but just marginally. I don't really care about social media. I don't really care about different apps for all this stuff. I don't play games on my phone. I don't watch videos on my phone. I don't listen to music on my phone. And I use my phone for email, messaging, and talking. And occasionally, some light web use. And that's really where I think BlackBerry excels. The iPhone kind of feels more like a toy to me. And, there are a few other things. I understand the appeal of the Lightning connector, but at the same time, I have micro USB everywhere for everything. Having to have a separate thing to charge my phone is just stupid. Also, we have the one microphone here at the bottom for the iPhone. The BlackBerry, you have the microphone at the bottom for your voice right next to the speaker, similar on the iPhone, but you also have two microphones at the top here for left and right channel. Speakerphone and sound quality is definitely superior on the BlackBerry in my my testing with everyone I've called. I guess that's about it. I'm sure I'll miss something, but like I said, this is not a professional review, and really this isn't intended to be widely shared. This is just to shut a few of you up that keep saying try the iPhone, you'll like it better, because I don't, and here's why. And if Apple can give me a phone where I can, use the browser, be doing something, get a message, reply to it without leaving my browser, turn off my phone without interrupting what I'm watching in YouTube, have that nice predictive text with the, predictive, senders with the email. If I send to one person, who do I also usually CC, give me predictions? If I take a picture, who do I usually send it to? Stuff like that. If Apple wants to do that would be great. If Apple wants to make it so I turn off the phone, put it in my pocket, 5 seconds later say, oh, I forgot something, and not have to frickin' unlock it again. For Christ's sake, come on, guys. This isn't hard. I just don't get it. I really don't. And security. The security of being able to have the device, lose the device and know that if somebody tries to get in it, it's going to wipe itself after 10 tries, regardless. And that's just by default. That's standard. That's without setting up any other features like full disk encryption. There's a full disk encryption option for this. There may be one on the iPhone, but I don't really know. That means that basically if you would take it apart, you actually extract the data from it, it would be in an encrypted state. You wouldn't be able to do anything with it. I don't know if that's a feature that's offered on iPhone or not, but it certainly is on BlackBerry. It's easy and you don't have to pay for it. So I guess that concludes everything here. Hopefully this has been informative, and bring on the flames.